Why is Sabbath day morning to evening? Why is a scriptural day morning to morning? Shortened version. Short verses with days starting in the morning. Example 1. This is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they bring near to Yahuwah, beginning on the day when he is anointed, 1/10 an ephah of fine flour as a daily grain offering, half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. The offering was brought to Yahuwah at the beginning of the day, half in the morning and half in the evening. So, the day started in the morning. How can the day start in the evening, when the grain offering was to start at the beginning of the day, which we are told is in the morning? Example 2. Tomorrow is a festival to Yahuwah, and they rose early on the next day. Tomorrow begins the next day, when they rose early. Why did tomorrow not begin that night? Example 3. And it came to be on the next day that Moses sat to rightly rule the people. And the people stood before Moses from morning until evening. Notice that the next day starts in the morning. Example 4. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I am bringing locusts within your borders. And Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Egypt. And Yahuwah brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. Morning came, and the east wind brought the locusts. Tomorrow was when the locusts came, and they came in the morning. They did not come the next night. Why not say all that day and all the next night came the wind? The day and the night go together with the day first, then the night following. Example 5. 2 lambs of the first year without spot day by day, for a continual ascending smoke offering. The one lamb shall you offer in the morning, and the other lamb shall you offer at evening. The 2 lambs were offered each day, one in the morning and one in the evening. So, here we see the day starts in the morning. Example 6. But our luwah prepared a worm when the morning rose the next day, and it smote the gourd that it withered. The next day was in the morning. The next day was not in the evening. Example 7. Next day, midnight, daybreak. If it was midnight, then daybreak must be when the sun rises. Day of Atonement. There are 3 requirements to setting the date for Day of Atonement. 1. It must start in the evening and end in the evening. 2. It must include the 9th of the 7th month. 3. It must include the 10th of the 7th month. It must include 2 dates, the 9th and the 10th. Day of Atonement scriptural verses. And Yahuwah spoke to Moses, saying, On the 10th of the 7th month is Day of Atonement. It shall be a holy gathering for you. And you shall afflict your beings, and shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. You do no work, a law forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It is a Shabbat of rest to you, and you shall afflict your beings. On the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, you observe your Shabbat. Day of Atonement starts on the evening of the 9th and finishes on the evening of the 10th, and we have evening to evening, and we have included both dates. If Day of Atonement was evening to evening with an evening start to the day, Yahuwah would have given us only one date. He would have said on the 9th or on the 10th, but we are given 2 dates. The 9th starting in the evening and the 10th ending in the evening. Therefore, we choose to observe Day of Atonement on the evening of the 9th to the evening of the 10th of the 7th month. Therefore, the day starts in the morning. Day of Atonement is the only Shabbat that is evening to evening. This feast day is different as it is in remembrance of a sad event, so it has different instructions. No other feast day says evening to evening. Day of Atonement says evening to evening because it is according to Torah. All other feast days begin in the morning, except for Passover, which is between the evenings. Compare Leviticus 23 with Exodus 20. It does not say it is a Sabbath day, but instead, it says it will be a Sabbath of rest. Leviticus 23 says, Sabbath of rest. You do no work, a law forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It is a Shabbat of rest to you, and you shall afflict your beings. On the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, you observe your Shabbat. Notice the word day is omitted here. However, Exodus 20 says, Sabbath day. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Our Father deliberately omitted the word day when describing Day of Atonement. The history of creation, Genesis 1. Now, let's see the translation of the Hebrew into English using Blue Letter Bible. Come to pass. Evening, come to pass. Morning, come to pass. Day, 1. Day, Why is the translation in King James Version so different to the Hebrew? And evening and morning were the first day. Do you notice that 5 words have been mistranslated in KJV? But let's go a little further. Words have been added to the original text. When we read exactly how it appears in Hebrew, it reads as, come to pass evening, come to pass morning, day 1. This eliminates all the duplicated and mistranslated words. In Genesis 1:5b, do you see the words and were? Better translations of Genesis 1 verse 5b would be, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, day 1. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, day 1. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. Evening passed, and morning came, that was the first day. Therefore, the day begins at 6 a.m. and goes through the day when we work. At 6 p.m., we rest at night, and at 6 a.m. the next day starts again. So, when we read Genesis 1 verse 5b, come to pass evening, come to pass morning, day 1, the true reading of it makes sense. Our Father created during each day, but he rested during each night. After creating during each day, the evening would pass. A few hours later, the third part of the morning would pass. At 6 a.m. was the beginning of the next day. Our Father created during the day. It does not say what he did at night, but we assume he was role modeling what we are to do. So we assume he rested at night. He said 6 days we will work. He never said work 6 days and 6 nights. We work for 6 days and we rest for 1 day. We already rest at night. Therefore, our Creator worked during the day. Then the evening came. When the morning came at 6 a.m., that was the beginning of the next day. Dilemma with Passover. Passover verses. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, between the evenings, is the Passover to Yahuwah. And this is how you eat it. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Passover of Yahuwah. So they departed from the Ramesses in the first month. On the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow of the Passover, the children of Israel went out with a high hand before the eyes of all the Egyptians. Passover was on the 14th day, and they left on the 15th. But the 15th had to be tomorrow. If the day started in the evening, then it was impossible for Moses to leave on the next day, and it'd still be the 15th. It would have still been the 14th for the next day. Notice how there was a day and a night between Passover and the Exodus. Why would they have sandals on their feet for that long? They would have left the same day, not the next day. Why would they eat Passover quickly if they are not leaving the very next morning? Remember, they had to kill the Passover lamb on the 14th, and that night they had to eat it by the morning. Any remains had to be burned with fire. Instead, if the day started in the morning, then Moses left Egypt the morning after Passover. The Exodus was the very next day. It is imperative that we know exactly when the day starts to help us understand when to celebrate the feast days. Moreover, Josiah kept the Passover unto Yahuwah in Jerusalem, and they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. And they roasted the Passover with fire, and afterward they made ready for themselves and for the priests, because the priests the sons of Aaron were busied in offering of ascending smoke offerings and the fat until night. So all the service of Yahuwah was prepared the same day. Therefore they killed, cooked, and ate the Passover in the same day. These tasks were completed during the day and the night of the 14th. The 14th day was still today. They had to leave on the 15th day. Day starts in the evening. This is still today. They cannot leave yet. They left on the day after Passover. But this timeline shows they left 2 days later. What happened to the 14th day? Day starts in the morning. The day beginning in the morning means they leave on the 15th, the next day. A scriptural day is 24 hours. This verse shows that a day can include just daylight. Yahushua answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbles not, because he sees the light of this world. Notice when the Father uses the word day when referring to the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. Guard the Shabbat day, to kordash it, as Yahuwah your Luwah commanded you. He is always very specific in his word. It is a Shabbat of rest to you, and you shall afflict your beings. Where's the word day in the above passage? When our Father says to remember the Sabbath day, he is clearly telling us that we are to rest in the day. But in this sentence, the word day is omitted. This means he is very specific with his command. Remember the Shabbat day, to kordash it. We are commanded to rest on the 7th day, not the 7th day and night. Does he say, remember the Shabbat day and night? No, he does not. He says, remember the Shabbat day, to Kwadash it. Why would he command us to rest at night when we already rest at night? So we're called to rest Shabbat day, morning to evening. Conclusion. Key points. The Sabbath is forever. The fourth commandment is the only one that starts with remember. The Sabbath is on the seventh day. The Sabbath is only on the day. It does not include night. Genesis 1 verse 5 says the day is light, and the light is good. He tells us to remember the Sabbath day. He does not say remember Sabbath day and night. The translation of Genesis 1 verse 5b, evening and morning with the first day, is incorrect. Instead, it reads, come to pass evening, come to pass morning day one. The 24-hour day starts in the morning and finishes the next morning. Our Father created during the day. Come to pass evening, come to pass morning. Day one. The video below is a more detailed and thorough explanation of the video just viewed. The video below explains our current belief of between the evenings. Your word is truth. Disclaimer. Follow us on Telegram, BitChute, and Rumble.